Hey everybody, I hope you had a great weekend. All right, let's get started with another Photoshop lesson. So today's lesson, we're going to be talking about selection, marquees and selections. So far we've been working with Illustrator, which mostly works with objects, vector objects. But Photoshop is a whole new paradigm, and I think it's going to be an easier way. You're going to have an easier time getting your brain wrapped around this because it's a lot more human. It's a lot more like coloring and painting with your hands. One thing that is not too similar is the marquee. So let's go up here to our marquee tool. Actually, yours should look like this. And if your tool set does not look like this, you go to Windows, Workspace, and try one of these. I keep mine on graphics and web because, as you know, I'm mostly like a web designer, web developer. Most of my stuff is digital and online. But if you're be feeling artistic and feeling like doing some painting or whatever, you can try different tool sets. But all the same tools are available. It just arranges it pretty much to suit your needs. But anyway, so you should basically look like this. What we're going to do is we're going to grab this rectangular marquee tool, and we're going to draw a little marquee on our screen there. Now, I'm going to take my paintbrush, which you can get by clicking on the paintbrush tool. As you may have guessed, it looks exactly like the one on Illustrator, or you can just press the B key on your computer. And I'm going to go ahead and draw in here. Okay, pretty standard, right? It's about what you expected to happen. But let's see what happens when we go outside the marquee. So you'll notice we can't really color outside the marquee. And that's one of the cool things about a marquee is you sit it there to kind of protect the edges, like painter's tape, right? That's one use. It's not the only use. So anyway, let's get rid of that. Now there are a few different types of marquees here. Elliptical marquee, you can make a circle. Yay, a circle. Single row marquee is kind of weird. It's actually just one row of pixels. So if you painted over that, I'm going to hit Control D for deselect. I think it's just 1 pixel thick. Yeah, it is just 1 pixel thick. Yeah, really tiny little row. And you can guess what the next marquee tool is. Single column marquee. Same. I'm going to paintbrush it out. It'll zoom in on deselect, zoom in, and you can already see what it did. Those are the marquee tools, and that's how we can use them sort of as painter's tape. But there are other things you can do with it. Let's go back to that web page that we were using the other day. It's sort of on my website. No. Okay. Let's take this little fella here. I'm just going to copy. Go back to Photoshop and paste. You know what? We might need a blank image. I'm just going to open a new file. So new, clipboard sized, very convenient. Create, paste. There he is. So here's another thing you can do with a marquee. Drag it out, and then you can move what you captured in there. You couldn't do that with Illustrator, right? Because it worked with objects, not really with pixels. So you moved objects around, like a paper cutter might, cut a little piece of paper, but then he might move it somewhere else. Well, here, I guess there is no equivalent. Painters don't do this, but we will. You can do that with all the different types of marquees. Oh, I forgot to mention, this is the move tool. I don't think we had that in Illustrator, my recollection. Correct me if I'm wrong. Jet, Bo, anybody recall? Anyway, so yeah, you can do the same thing with all the marquee tools. You can grab pixels and move them around. Or if I grab my paintbrush and try to draw on here, it won't let me go outside the boundaries of that. So super useful marquee tool. So now we know what we use for marquees for, but what if our needs are a little more complicated than just coloring in a circle or moving a circle-shaped spot of our painting? So for example, if we wanted to paint this guy here, and I wanted to paint his shirt purple, well, the first thing that I would think of is I'd grab the paintbrush and I'd have to sit here and But look how sloppy I am. I didn't do that great in kindergarten, so I go outside the lines all the time and do all this stuff. Oh, that looks terrible, right? That's where the magic wand tool comes in. So if you click the magic wand tool and click on his torso, you'll notice that it selects this whole area until it hits like a much different color, like a black color. That's exactly what the magic wand tool does. Here it selected his whole arm until it hits the line. Didn't select finger though. So just FYI, if you wanted to add an area to any marquee, actually, you hold Shift, right? Yeah, okay, woo, I guessed right. And if you want to take away an area, you hold Control on a PC or Command, I think, on a Mac. So if I wanted to, add all these fingers, doot, doot, doot. If I wanted to take away one finger, just hold Control or Command, take them away. There we go. That's true for these kind of geometrical shaped marquees too. Is if I hold Shift and I draw another circle, it adds them together. Or if I hold Alt and I draw another circle, it takes that bit away. So you can actually do more complicated shapes with those. I'm going to hit Command or Control D to deselect. Now you have a few choices when it comes to this magic wand tool. By the way, I find this tool very useful and I use it constantly. And what it does is whenever you click on a point, Photoshop takes a little sample of that one little pixel right there. It goes, okay, what color is this? And then it says, okay, well, the user wants us to select colors that are basically like this color. But even in this very uniformly colored image, there are areas that have different colors. So for example, you probably didn't notice this, but when you get really close, like this seems to be all white. This is a dark gray, but these are little spots in between. In fact, this I don't know if you can see it, but that's a slightly different shade of white. Very slightly different, but it is all these are different shades of white, very slight. Well, it has to have a tolerance then. If it just selected that one exact bit of white, actually, I'll show you what happens. I'll do tolerance of 1. That means it has to be exactly that color. Oh, that's a lot more than I expected. Okay, so a lot of this really is exactly that white color. You can see that anywhere it gets even close to slightly different color, with my eyes, I would not have noticed that this is a different color white than this, but it is. Now, let's see what happens if we select the maximum tolerance amount of like 255. I think 255 is the highest. So now it does not discriminate at all. It just selected the whole image because every color is within its range. So what happens if we select a few things in between? Let's say 32 is what it usually comes set with. I'm just going to do 77. See what happens. So let's look nice and closely. Okay, 77 does that. Let's do 33. You'll notice before when you had 77, those bricks were selected. Oh, that brick was selected anyway. That pixel. When I do, I don't know, 22. Now it won't select either of those. So you can see what it does. Is it says, okay, like this person wants 22 shades, within 22 shades of the exact color I selected. This person wants me to select those colors also. So now here's an important bit. Contiguous or non-contiguous. Now contiguous I have selected because we wanted to select his torso. Let me turn this back to 32 because that's what it comes with. There we go. We selected his torso there. But you'll notice that this is white too. So it's not selecting all the white on the screen. It's just selecting the white until it hits a barrier. But if we deselected contiguous right here, and then we selected his torso again, all the whites, everything within that color range is selected. This is all one selection now. I can prove it to you by moving it, and look how weird that gets. But you're moving it all together. All the white on the image you're moving together. So let's try, actually this might be better. Let's try his hat. So let's choose contiguous, and then let's move the hat. Okay, so I'm just moving that one chunk of blue. Let's deselect contiguous and select it again and move it around. Now look what it's moving. It's moving the hat, the brim, plus his little shorts. If there were anything else blue on the screen, I'd be moving that around too. That's what that does. Add to selection and subtract to selection. I already told you the shortcuts to that, but here are that's the long way to do it. I prefer the shortcuts myself. This is intersection, so you can actually make two selections and then just keep the intersecting areas. So let's see here. There's that. Then you can click intersection and do another one, and boom, it just keeps that intersected area. Just goes to the point I was making earlier that it's possible to make more complicated selections than just rectangles. All right, now let's go to the quick selection tool. Now this works on sort of the same principles as the magic wand. It samples and then it just sort of like ropes in pixels that are of a similar color. And then when it sees another dissimilar color, it goes, whoa, no, don't select that. But this one works almost like a combination of like the magic wand tool, but also like a paintbrush, because you have a brush size right here. And so it's going to go, okay, let's start selecting stuff kind of in that area. You can see, you can kind of go around here, which could be useful. Honestly, I don't use it very often, but it would be useful if you had like a lion's face. You had like yellow flecks of fur and reddish flecks of fur, and you got to go, okay, I just got to get that yellow fleck, and because I want to like get rid of it. It's too yellowy. It pops out too much. You might want to use this tool for that. Quick selection, object selection tool. You know, to tell you the truth, I haven't had much of a chance to mess with this because it's sort of like a new addition, but I believe what they're trying to do is sort of replicate what Adobe Illustrator does so well, and that is just moving objects around. It's like, I think it tries to guess what the object is in your image or in your selection and tries to grab it. Okay, yeah, so yeah, like how it didn't guess it at all. Sorry, Adobe. I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be using this one. Okay, it guessed that one all right. Wonder what happened if I do this. And it basically kind of got it. Kind of got it. Okay. Now, last but not least, the lasso tool. Now, this is great if you want to make a selection by hand. So let's say, here we go. I just want to cut out his eye. I'm just going to draw a little circle around it. And voila, I can, ooh, that's creepy. But I can do it. Try to choose a creepy sample there. Now, a polygonal lasso tool is very useful for polygonal objects. So let's go to this. This is a polygon. So you just go click, click, click. Sorry, I forgot to mention the lasso tool, you click and hold to drag it around. This one, you just click, 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 and select the whole object, and then get rid of it, and yippee. There you go. I actually find these both quite useful, and this one. Magnetic lasso tool. So this is sort of reminds me of the quick selection tool. Sort of same principles. I'll show you why. Is it as you draw, it kind of latches to the area that has the greatest contrast near where you're dragging it. So you'll see what's happening is it's just sort of like magnetizing toward this black edge of the arm. If I go way far away from it, it's not going to know what to do, and it kind of just like circles in whatever. But as long as you keep going along like this, it does a pretty good job of keeping everything, everything, stuck to what you want to select. So there you go. All right, so that brings us to the daily exercise. With this, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun. Go to that web page that we used for our last lesson. It's petersorowski.github.io/dart100. I apologize for the super long name. GitHub is it's like a free server kind of / social medium for developers, and they kind of put our projects there and ooh and ah at each other or shake our heads and face palm sometimes. But anyway, so if you go there, you're going to see all those images from the other day, all these photos. And then next one up will be this adorable little baby cuddling a bear. And so I also noticed on the interwebs, I found this bat that has a real similar shade of fur to this bear. So we're going to do this. We're going to replace, very slyly while the baby's sleeping, we're going to replace the face of the bear with a bat's face. So what you'll do is you'll copy the default image, the one with the bear face. And we're going to go ahead and open a new file, clipboard sized, create, paste. There we go. Now we got to get the bat face. We're just going to paste the bat off to the side. So browser, here's Mr. Bat. It's a much larger image. Copy image. Back to our file. Paste. Oh, darn. What are we going to do about that? Let's open a new file. A new clipboard size. That's good. It'll open. You hit paste. Now, here's one element that is going to come in a lot of handy for you with the lasso tool. Or you could use the elliptical tool, I think would be suitable, but I'm going to use the lasso, is feathering. Now, feathering is something that we don't touch in Illustrator, but it's the decreasing opacity of like a brush stroke or a color as you get close to the edge. Paintbrushes have this, for example. I'm going to make my paintbrush nice and big. Now, you'll notice that I have this little pop-up menu here that says hardness 100%. Well, as I move, now it's like 70, 51, 40, 30. You notice how it sort of gets softer around the edges or more transparent around the edges. And then as I increase the hardness, it gets harder. This is a side note. You don't need to open the brush and do this. We're going to do this later. But that's what feathering is it gets lighter and more transparent around the edges. So when we select our lasso tool, I'm going to choose feathering at about 20 pixels. 20 pixels is yay big, about the size of like the width of like an M with like a typical font. And so when I select this guy's face, I'm going to hit Control or Command C to copy his face. I'm going to go back to our original image, and I'm going to hit Command or Control V for paste. It's going to create a new layer automatically, which is kind of convenient. We can move them around. And we're going to transform this to make it smaller. So you can either hit Control T or you can go up to the the Edit drop down. I believe the Edit, yeah, and say Free Transform. And just bring the size down. Appropriate. That's too big. That's too wrong angle. That's not bad. If I were to do it again, I would have feathered it better. I would have done maybe like 30 or feather it for 30 or 40 pixels. So you can try that. But yeah, it needs more feathering. But I'm not going to do it again. I'll let you do it. I'm going to hit deselect, hit enter when you have them in position. That looks pretty good to me. And I'm going to use my eraser tool. I'm not going to give you a whole lot of detail about the eraser tool because it's going to be pretty self-explanatory. I will go in more detail. It works a lot like the paintbrush tool, but it's an eraser. So I'm just going to erase the little edge there so he can snuggle up. Looks pretty good to me. And there you go. Oh, best friends forever. So this is your assignment. Just, in fact, I mean, if you want to put a different type of face on him, something you find online, a dinosaur or just another teddy bear or another baby's face or something like that, feel free to get creative. Otherwise, this is basically what I'm after. I just want you to crop the bat face onto the bear face and you're all set. So, just get this one emailed to me in a JPEG format. Oh, and by the way, you do that this way. You go to it's the same thing as Illustrator, but File, Save As. Oh, this is a new feature. This pops up. It lets you save to the cloud. Since you all are not going to have, most of you aren't going to have a long-term cloud subscription. I would just save everything to your computer. Otherwise, you can save to the cloud. So, and then JPEG. Don't worry about these other weird JPEG files. Just good old traditional JPEG right there is good. And then you just hit save. So we have our assignment with the photo retouching due in 2 days, or Wednesday, this coming Wednesday, and then this one will be due the following Monday. Okay, well, I wish I could say I'll see you soon, but talk to you soon. How about that?